So now that I'm mastering the boundaries associated with pretty much everybody having their own life, their own path, their karma, their karmic contracts, everything associated with that. Is it mine to do? Going easy on me, I realized that I could set myself free from feeling obligated to carry everybody else's load. And in one of these phases where I was really contemplating, and as I mentioned before, typically, when something drops in, I spend some time with it, rolling it around, looking at it, writing about it, meditating on it. Something in this period was happening a bit faster, in the sense of it's almost like every 24 to 48 hours I was getting something that I was working on and navigating and moving through. And so where that took me was really understanding that was one of those programs that I was running from childhood that I had carried into adulthood, and that my focus really needed to be on my pod. Okay, I like dolphins and whales. So my immediate, which would include my children, I have two, and my guy, my man, he and I, because we're one in unity, and what we do in unity, then we take care of our children, my children. I have two, he has one, so it's that, and then the offspring of them, right? Being mindful of the pods that are connected after that. So when our children have children, they're a pod, but then we're the umbrella over them, and then how that moves forward. And when I embraced that, I stepped into that. It felt really, really good. I felt free that I didn't have all these people that I had put on my shoulders, strapped on my back, and had on my arms, wrapped around my waist, and on my legs as I'm moving and going. And then I had somehow put one of those in some of the rural countries. They, some of the women put the trays on top of their head. I had put a tray on my head and had folks on top of that too. So it was like, I don't have to do that, and I need to give myself permission to rewrite that and to change that program, because that's gonna kill me, literally, if I allow that. Not that somebody, well, the program was put upon me, but everything else, that information was fed to me, and I was living out the program. After a while, people don't have to keep reinforcing certain things. I mean, you just pick it up and do it. And then I realized too, being young, when I was young, that in my house as the oldest, because things were tight for my parents initially, for my mom, that if they drank all the milk that was supposed to last for the week, then I got in trouble, right? Even though I didn't even know that they had the milk, but I was the oldest, I had the responsibility. That I remember one time, my brother, I was in the 3rd grade, and so I'm 3rd grade, so I guess 9, 7, we were 9, 7, and 5. So my brother was 5 years old. He had really, really wide feet, and they had to order special shoes for him. And somehow he had gone through a growth spurt, and his shoes didn't fit. They were hurting his feet, and we were walkers. So we walked to school. We were latchkey back then. We walked to school, and on the way home, he was like, my feet hurt. I can't wear these shoes, and I'm not walking. Now, in my family, I'm the oldest. I'm 5'3 3/4. My sister's 5'5". She might be 5'7". My brother's now 10 and a half, 5'11". But why do I share that? When we were little, my sister, who's right behind me, was my height, and she then passed me. And my brother was not that far behind me in terms of height, but he's always been a really stocky boy. Well, he decided he wasn't walking. And so I had the responsibility of getting us home, and my mom was going to call at a certain time, and we needed to be in the house. And so I asked my sister to help me carry him, but she said, no, that's not my responsibility. I'm not carrying him. He took his shoes off and he wouldn't walk, and I had to figure out how to carry him. And I carried him, which, back in the day when you walked, I'm trying to remember the distance. I know it was at least a mile, maybe it was 2, but walking distance was a mile or so, a mile and a half, I don't know. But I had to carry him home. And the fear of what was going to happen to me if I didn't get home to get that call made me do it. And those were one of the things that ingrained that they're my responsibility. And I share it now because many of you have something in your life that has happened in some sort of way where that duty and responsibility, that obligation based on the expectations of others and caretaking for others, that I realized that fear was instilled in me that if I did not take care of grown folks now, that I would be in trouble, be judged, I was wrong for it. And this period gave me that freedom. And again, easy on me. When I look in the mirror, easy on me said, you don't have to do that anymore. You're only doing it because you have bought into that program. Because nobody, of course they come and they ask, but nobody's going to whip your tail if you don't do it, right? There's no phone call you have to directly answer, right? No phone you have to be by or to a check-in that's going to decide whether you get a spanking or punishment or whatever else it is if things weren't met, right? If standards weren't met and, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So that happening, I can't say it any other way, it was just so liberating. And then again, as I'm navigating that and I'm looking at because again, for me, whatever happens in my life or revelation that comes in my life, I find shows up with the clients that I'm speaking to. Usually within that week, a week or two, and we laugh. We're like, okay, what's the theme, right? And I kind of, not always, for the most part, experience something that helps prepare me for what they may be encountering in their lives. So, in this window, looking at that, releasing, no, it's my pod. I'm doing for my pod because that's what Spirit said I'm responsible for at this point. Who did I birth? And who am I responsible for as a result of those actions? And that was a pivotal thing in releasing a lot of the anger. I was healing my solar plexus. This is where we store the emotional hurts and pains. By identifying, I was beginning to do the work to heal each one of my chakras. And in that particular phase, what I was working on was solar plexus, the rage and anger that was storing in my body, and how liberating it was to understand that all I had to do from here on out was focus on my health, my well-being, and my power.